Okay, we're almost done with the model. There's just one more thing to consider and account for. Right now, the icon property in our data model is storing a string value. That's because in the dark sky documentation, it says that the icon data point can have one of 10 possible values, and those are returned as string representations. Our user interface mockup calls for the displaying of icons, not a string. Therefore, we need to map the string values from our JSON data to relevant images for our users. Our amazing design team here at Treehouse has created a great set of icons for our app, which we'll use up here. There's a link to download them in the teacher's notes. Once we have them unzipped, we can copy them directly into the project folder. They're formatted to allow us to overwrite the existing folders. To quickly open the Res folder, right-click on it. On Mac, you'll select this Reveal in Finder. On Windows, it's Show in Explorer. And now we can simply drag all of the drawable folders to our project. And we'll take the mip-map folders as well. Remember, we have multiple versions of each icon to account for different screen resolutions. With all of our images here in our drawable folder, we can expand one and see all the different versions. If we double-click on one to preview it, we see that it is white on a transparent background, so the background we use in our layout will show through. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. For now, though, we want to add a new method to our model that will get the appropriate image based on the icon value we are getting from our API. To get the image, we need the int ID that gets generated for the drawable resource. Once we set that up, it will be nice and easy to use it in an image view. In current weather then, let's add a new method after our icons, after the icon getter and setter here. We'll make it public, return an int value, call it getIconID. Inside here, we're going to have a long switch statement to check for all the possible values. We'll need to account for all the values, so let's take another look at our API documentation to see what options we're working with. So again, we'll look at response format. Down here under the currently data point, we're looking for icon. Here we see a list of all of our potential values. In situations like this, I'd like to copy and paste all of these values and add them as a comment in our code. So we'll copy. And we can paste them here into our getIconID method. And let's clean that up a little bit. There we go. So let's start here with a new int variable and set it to a default value. We'll set it to the clear day icon by default. So int iconID r.drawable clear day. This will be useful should any new icons get added to the API in the future. They mention this in their documentation. Now for that long switch statement I mentioned to update icon ID based on the icon. We could use a bunch of if statements here, but the switch construct is a bit faster and, in my opinion, easier to read. So we'll switch based on the icon. Every possibility we want to catch, we define. So we'll start with clear day. So case of clear day. Our icon ID, drawable, clear day. Notice that the drawable names have underscores instead of dashes. We are getting dashes from the API, but we aren't allowed to have dashes in resource names in Android projects. Hence, this little conversion dance here. Now this next line of code is short, but very important. We need to break the case or it will fall through to the next case. The fall through allows one to write code that runs that meets multiple cases. In this situation, however, we don't want that. We will always need to call the keyword break, which will break out of our try clause. Break. And our next case is for clear night. So we'll set icon ID, r.drawable, clear night, and don't forget to break. There's a bunch of additional cases here, and it's kind of a lot to type. I'll put the rest in the teacher's notes for easy copy and paste, and I'll just paste them in here. We'll remove this space, and then we can return our icon ID. Very nice. Whew! We are finally done with the data model and are ready to display all this data we've worked so hard to get. In the next section, we'll get the user interface, or UI, all set up to connect our data to the screen.